enlightened beings. Welcome to the Holistic Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Beverly, the founder of the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy. Today, I would like to explore with you how the sun, both physically and spiritually, is delivering profound energetic energies in 2025. This year will be a massive, big year of change. As we approach the summer solstice, which is June 21st, we will look at how solar codes are awakening the light of our soul and empowering holistic healing and intuitive awakening. And it's happening for everybody. You don't have a choice. Some of us embrace it. Some of people are probably asleep and they don't know what's happening to them, but it's happening. And those of you who are awake, you can feel it. The sun rules over our overall vitality and life force energy. So it is important to evaluate the condition of the sun to determine our energy levels and resilience. And that's what I'm a medical astrologer, and that's what we look at is where is the sun in your chart and what is it doing, and where's the moon and what is it doing? So the sun is our vigor, while the moon represents our bodily health. So the solar cycles for 2025 are a frequency shift. Both NASA in the United States and the European Space Agency, ESA, their data shows that we are currently experiencing a solar maximum, and we've talked about this maximum in the past. It's part of an 11-year sunspot cycle, and we're in cycle number 25. And what this does is it creates increased solar flares, coronal mass injections, or CMEs, and cosmic radiation. Excuse me. Sorry. And they are affecting not only our satellites, but they are affecting our human biofield and our aura, our energy. We're electromagnetic beings, and we are being bombarded with this energy. So a number of scientific studies have shown and suggested that solar activity can correlate with a number of symptoms. One is spiritual symptoms. One is shifts in consciousness. So people are waking up. They're realizing they have a soul purpose and maybe they need to learn something or work with different people. And those of us that are awake are also having changes in awareness. It can also produce increased emotional intensity. We saw that big time when Mars came into Cancer. There was a lot of road rage, craziness. It went into Leo, it dipped in there for a short time, went back into Cancer retrograde, and it hung there. And it got even worse with the road rage and craziness. And now it's in Leo again, and it's sort of calming down, although it's got some other relationships that it's not completely calm, but at least the emotional intensity, anytime you have something in Cancer or wherever the moon is, which rules Cancer, it does have an emotional impact. And then, of course, you may have heart issues. It may speed up, slow down. You may feel palpitations. And that's all because of this energy we're being bombarded with. It can also affect your sleep and your dreams. You may have increased dreams. You may have insomnia. I know for me, the last couple of weeks, sleep has been crazy. Some days I don't sleep at all, and other days I can't get enough sleep. It's been crazy, and I know other people that are affected the same way. And the other thing it affects is the Earth's frequency or vibration, which is called the Schumann resonance. And it's shown these crazy spikes that mirror the gamma ray frequencies that are emitted by the sun. And so the CMEs are ejected from the sun, they come at the earth, they hit our outer area, our atmosphere. Our magnetic field used to be heavier and it would bounce off, but it's thinning. So a lot of that energy is coming through that never used to get through before. So what this does is it activates our pineal gland, and it also can change our DNA expression. So your DNA expression changes throughout your lifetime, especially when you're young. When you're young, you have a lot of growth hormone going on, telling your body to grow and get bigger and mature. And then it starts slowing down as you age. By the time you're an adult, full-blown adult, you don't grow anymore. Well, hopefully you don't grow anymore. You still repair your body, but you're not going to get taller, make it a little wider as you age. But we have, according to scientists, junk DNA. Well, I would suggest there's no such thing as junk DNA, that it's DNA that is being activated for your own spiritual growth and for you to manifest your spiritual gifts and powers. So in summary of that, the sun is not just changing the Earth's environment, which is changing, but it's also recalibrating our own inner environment and who we are and how we will be in the world. So let's talk about the soul a little bit, the esoteric sun, if you will. In Theosophy and some of Alice Bailey's teaching, the sun is more of a physical body. It is the solar logos. The logos, we have our own logos. It's above our head. Some people just call it the soul. But there's a solar logos, the logos of the sun. Our galaxy has a logos. All the planets have a logos. You have your own logos. So the solar logos is a conscious being that transmits divine will. And scientists for a long time debated, where did DNA come from? How did life begin? And now they've found that the sun actually emits DNA. Okay, so the DNA comes from the sun. So the sun is the father. That's the seed that comes to the Mother Earth. The seed's planted in the earth and new life is born. I mean, that's the story of the birds and the bees. So in the Vedas, the sun, also known as Surya, Surya, is a soul awakener and a viral energy source and a vital energy force. It's not viral, a vital energy force for prana, or the Chinese call it chi, or the Japanese call it ki. In the Hermetic principle of as above, so below, it implies that our solar body corresponds to the inner spiritual sun. So our soul, or our higher self, we're a mirror. When I studied Huna, we used to go into the sun and meditate there and create a mirror image of ourselves. So that's a meditation you can do. It's part of the Huna tradition, or you can just see yourself as a mirror of the sun. It's a great meditation. So a metaphysical insight might be the light of the soul, excuse me, is accessed when your personality surrenders to divine will. So just as celestial bodies revolve around the sun's gravity, the ego must find its rightful place in relation to the guiding light of your soul. We call this death of the ego. So your soul becomes, excuse me, sorry about that. So your soul becomes in charge of you and your life and your light, and the ego is subservient to the soul. When we're younger, our ego sometimes gets us in trouble. It likes to be in charge, and it leads to fear and anger and all kinds of negative emotions. And when you allow the ego to say, you're not in charge, my soul is in charge, it leads to a calmer demeanor. It leads to not being triggered. It leads to more spiritual advancement and more personal awareness and mindfulness. So let's talk about the solar codes and how to integrate them. So what are solar codes? So we talked about how DNA can come from the sun. So it's the light frequencies, the 7 rays, you may have heard them, the photons. So light is actually a wave, but we see photons when you take a snapshot in time. It looks like a photon, but it's actually a wave. So they carry evolutionary information. It's meant to awaken latent DNA. That's our junk DNA. That's not junk at all. And it triggers cellular regeneration. So you might find yourself healing. And when Jupiter in June will be going into Cancer, you may find all of a sudden people start to heal. Seems lately in the news, everybody's got some kind of cancer or something going wrong. And I suspect when Jupiter comes into Cancer that all of that's going to change because Jupiter's exalted. So you'll have to look at your chart and see, because everybody's different. But what will happen is as you heal and your energy becomes lighter, it's going to raise your vibration, which is, of course, your frequency. So what can you do to help receive and integrate these solar energies or solar codes? One is to do sunrise meditations. That's something I've been doing since I moved into my Cottonwood house. What you do is you face the early morning sun with your eyes closed, and you just do these slow, deep meditations. And you can sing a chant to the sun, or you can do an affirmation. A possible affirmation might be, I receive the golden codes of transformation. I am light. I am aligned. Another thing you can do is sun gazing. At my old house in Cottonwood, I used to do sun gazing. You do it at dusk, just before the sun. What is it? Dawn. There's dawn and dusk. So dusk is in the evening, dawn is in the morning. I'm dyslexic. Get them backwards. Anyway, I do not recommend doing that unless you take training on how to do it because you have to build up. And you need to do it right so that you don't damage your retina. So if you don't know how to do it, don't do it. But you've got plenty of time before June 21st, I think it is. It's the equinox. So I'm sure you can find a place online that'll teach you how to do it. And you just slowly build up. Probably not more than 10 minutes, but you might build up, 1 minute or 10 seconds at a time until you get to a minute, and then 5 minutes and 10 minutes. But like I said, find a teacher or find some kind of online information. Otherwise, you risk damaging your eyes. You can drink sun-charged water. Like clean spring water. You put it in a glass and set it on a windowsill. I make Ho'oponopono water. So I buy these Saratoga things and I keep the bottle and I fill it with distilled water and I put it on the windowsill for 2 days. It gets 2 Arizona afternoon sun charging. And then with Ho'oponopono water, you can just put a little bit in your water and it will restructure the water based on that energy. But I just drink pure Ho'oponopono water. And so if you're familiar with Miraso Emoto's research, the Japanese researcher who said that our emotions and what we do with our water affects and structures the water. It's kind of like a snowflake is structured by the energy of the environment. So I put a lot of energy and love into my water and preparing it so that it is as structured and filled with love as I can get it. You can use aromatherapy if you like. One is, oil you might consider is calendula. I'm sure you've heard of it as homeopathic and as herbs, but you can also get the essential oil. And it has a sunny color and shape, and it's often associated with the sun and positive energy. So if you need more positive energy, that might be one that you consider. Another to consider is St. John's wort. You've probably heard of this. Some people use it for depression. Some people use it to help with sleep. I don't recommend it for those things because it's contraindicated with a lot of medications and a lot of people take meds. However, it is associated with the sun and with light, both physical and its perceived spiritual effects. So it's associated with light and incorporating the sun. And last but not least, and probably my favorite, is frankincense. It can be an oil, it's a resin, not a plant, but they make oil out of it, they make incense. You can get it in many different forms. And I believe it has a powerful spiritual impact when used in conjunction with sunlight. It can enhance meditation, it can enhance your intuition, and it enhances your spiritual insight. I use the incense all the time when I eat, and I use the essential oils all the time for various healing. Mostly, where's my, oh, here it is. Mostly at my desk, I use lavender. I buy it in really big bottles. But for meditation and other spiritual work, frankincense is one of my go-to oils. So let's talk about the energy healing and light body activation. So you can use visualization. One way is to just imagine a golden orb around your solar plexus. So that's at the just below your sternum, your breastplate. And so you can imagine a golden ball there and a golden ball above your head, which is your solar logos that we were talking about earlier. And then you want to grow them and merge them, and then encase your whole body in this huge golden egg. This will, it adds protection, both protecting you from negative energy coming in. And I always ask that it protect the environment, that any of my negative energy doesn't go out. We all have negative energy. You have a negative thought and then you have to erase it. So I use the golden egg to trap that so that I can process it and get rid of it. And then you want to prevent any negative energy from coming in. And if you do that in the sun, it just enhances that gold. The other thing you can do is listen to some solfeggio frequency music, and it's all over YouTube. So one of them I would suggest is 528 hertz. It's called the miracle tone. I'll get it out. It's also the love frequency. So it's very good for healing. It aids in DNA repair. And it promotes, as you repair your DNA, it promotes healing of whatever that DNA has affected. So if you have an issue you want to heal, 528 hertz is great. Another one to use, and I use this one a lot when I meditate, is 963 hertz. So 963 hertz is associated with activating the pineal gland, and activating the pineal gland with the sun, it activates and decalcifies that gland for you to open up some of your inner knowing and your the clair that lets you say, I'm doing really well. What is it? Clairaudient, clairvoyant. Opens up the clairvoyance. And it raises your consciousness, and it can boost your intuition. Okay, so I always suggest everybody keep a journal. So get a pen and paper real quick, and I'll give you a couple of journal prompts for you to consider. So ask yourself, where in my life do I feel called to radiate my truth? Where in my life do I feel called to radiate my truth? In other words, where are you not radiating your truth? What are you hiding from? What are you keeping still about? What do you need to share that you haven't shared? The next one might be, what old patterns are being burned away by this current sunlight activation? So what is it that you've been doing you're trying to change? And journal that, and then go in the sun and ask the sun to burn that out. And another one might be, how can I serve as a beacon for others during this time? So allow the sun to come in so that you can radiate it out, like the moon radiates out the sun's energy. So you bring in the sun for you to radiate out to others. And then just journal that. Some of you might like affirmations. So my suggestion there would be, I am a vessel of solar wisdom. I anchor the light in my soul with every breath. And so you do that while you do your breath work in the sun. So inhale, I am a vessel of solar wisdom. I anchor the light of my soul with every breath. You can just do that a few times. And then journal that again. How did that feel for you? While maybe you do your morning sun welcoming meditation. Some additional suggestions might include a solar diary. So for the next 7 days, record your moods, your sleep habits. Are you sleeping, not sleeping? When you wake up, how do you feel? Any synchronicities you notice that have happening? Any intuitive insights? What's come up for you? Any dreams you may have had that are either prophetic or educational, or maybe you didn't understand it, so you need to meditate on it to figure out what was it telling you. So watch for increased psychic activity, clarity, emotional purging. You may cry, or you may all of a sudden have a mood swing. What is that about? And keep a diary of that. What happened during that week while you're doing all of these solar exercises? So in closing, as we journey through the solar maximum of 2025, remember this: you are a solar being. Your consciousness is not separate from the cosmos. The light that touches your skin carries divine codes of awakening. The light within you, your DNA is light. They don't tell us that in school, but it is. It's light. So let this week be a time of radiant transformation for you. So if you found this episode helpful or useful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I do read all the comments, and I do appreciate them. So you can also explore more tools at my website, Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy. So until next week, remember to be the light you want to see in the world.